Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar of Global Expansion and Tax Implication with Consite Group, Avalara, and Board International. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Marta Pivia, Sales and Marketing Executive of Consite Group since 2019. And before to start this session, I would like to share with you some information about Consite Group. We are Oracle partners since many years, and we are specialized in professional services on main ERP solution as NetSuite and GD Leaders, and also in the Oracle Analytics. We based in Italy and Switzerland, and we consolidate the partnership with Avalara to support our ERP customer to fulfill tax requirements on countries. For this reason, we invite Board International that we supported also with the implementation partner of ERP solution Oracle NetSuite to share the experience as a customer case. Let's see the topic of today. The first item is global compliance challenges, where we explore about the complexity of the requirements across different countries. And then we're exploring about Avalara's technology solution with the customer experience of Board International. So why choose Avalara? Okay, takeaways, contact detail, finally the session Q&A. And now I would like to introduce you Tariq Mahmood. Hi, Tariq.
Hello there. Thank you very much for inviting Avalara to present today and discuss how businesses can navigate around their indirect tax challenges as they expand globally. A bit about myself before I jump into the presentation. So I joined Avalara in May of last year. And prior to joining the company, I spent, about 15 plus years working with business management software providers and primarily focusing on ERP solutions. So we'll jump into the presentation. So e-commerce actually grew by 25.7% in 2021. And with global e-commerce on track to surpass $7 trillion by 2025, new markets and opportunities do await businesses. Yet the rise in cross-border shipments has strained the supply chain already stressed by the COVID-19 pandemic. And while global sellers strive to meet customer demands, they also have to navigate a raft of complicated cross-border compliance requirements. And some of these issues affecting global businesses and tax compliance this year include electronic invoicing mandates, updates to the harmonized commodity and coding system, and new or ongoing COVID-19 relief efforts. And as part of an ongoing battle to reduce tax gaps and improve tax compliance, countries worldwide are moving forward with a host of new digital mandates this year. So for businesses who sell to US customers, either online or have a physical presence in the US, sales and use tax compliance this year will be shaped by numerous factors, including ongoing supply chain and labour challenges. Both are contributing to higher transportation and labour costs, which in turn can inspire businesses to seek alternative suppliers and products. Businesses could also continue to allow or require employees to work remotely this year, which can create tax obligations in states where employees actually reside. And many businesses selling into the US will continue to feel the effects of South Dakota versus Wayfair, which is a Supreme Court decision that enabled states to tax out-of-state sales and spark a slew of economic nexus and marketplace facilitator laws. Excuse me. Except for Missouri, which will follow suit next year, all states with a general sales tax now require out-of-state retailers and marketplace facilitators to collect and remit sales tax. And the particulars of each state's requirements can be especially challenging for businesses with few resources to devote to sales and use tax compliance. Here you'll see 45 states have sales tax, and the 5 that do have other tax types, and about 50% of a state's revenue is generated from sales tax. So they ideally want every business to pay sales tax. And there are over 14,000 tax jurisdictions across the US. So it really is incredibly difficult to find out what rate to charge for a specific transaction. So here we're going to zoom into Colorado, and as you'll see, we have two neighbors buying the same item from the same store. But this could also be, bought, online. However, what you'll see is they actually pay different sales tax amounts. One neighbor is paying 4.75% and the other 9.25%. So, this illustrates how complex, it can be to calculate sales tax. And the green and blue on the map indicates different rates on the tax map. So with US sales tax, it's all about understanding of what the item is, where it is, what tax holidays are in place to determine the correct rate. But rates are just one part of a bigger picture. There are other considerations which need to be taken into account. First one is Nexus. So Nexus is a term that means if a business has Nexus, an estate, they have an obligation to collect tax. They need to get registered, they need to file returns, and any transaction that takes place in that particular state where they have Nexus, they have to calculate and submit sales tax. Then there is product taxability. The same item can be taxed differently in different states. Each state has their own rules and regulations around product classification and associated tax, which gets applied to the products. And then they also have things like tax holidays, where in hurricane season, for example, wood, nail, hammers, and some other items are tax-free. So businesses selling these items would need to apply zero tax. There are actually about 350,000 changes in 2020. So a rate that was charged at the beginning of the month could very well be different towards the end of the month, which is why real-time calculation, is imperative. If companies are selling to government agents, resellers, or certain other organizations, transactions can be zero rated. However, the purchaser has to show they are exempt, which is done by an exemption certificate. But it's actually the responsibility of the seller to take a copy of the certificate. So when they are audited, they can provide evidence why the transaction was zero rated. If you file your returns late, this can incur fines, late fees, and interest. Interest, for example, New York state charges a penalty of 5% of the tax due for each month the return filing is late, plus 0.5% for late payments each month. An organisation called Potentiate actually carried out a survey last year to understand the true cost of sales tax compliance for companies of differing sizes across several industries. The objectives of the survey was to suss out the methods, staff requirements and expenses associated with managing sales and use tax compliance manually, so without automated sales tax solutions. And what they found is that monthly costs range from $11,000 to $24,000. So we're not talking small amounts. Then there is the cost of not being tax compliant in the US. The average cost for an audit is $114,000 for sales tax and compliance, which includes penalties, fees, and professional counsel. So another big challenge facing companies is the release of the 7th edition of the harmonized system by the World Customs Organization, which was released January 1st this year. As with every edition, since the first was created in 1988, the newest edition of the harmonized system will affect all participating countries, which are currently more than 200. The WCO updates the HS codes every 5 years to account for new products and circumstances. And there'll be about 350 amendments in this year's edition. Assigning the proper HS code to cross-border shipments is critical because HS codes are tied to import tariff rates. Misclassified products may be assigned a rate of duty that's too low, which could cause delays, fines, or other problems at the border. Alternatively, a rate that's too high could lead to disgruntled customers and fewer sales. Historically, businesses have relied on their freight agent to classify goods, etc. But now businesses want to be part of the discussion in terms of knowing the classification codes and duties. And a key reason is because, from a compliance perspective, the responsibility to ensure the codes and tariffs are correct fall to the trader, not the freight agent. So HS codes, are difficult to get right, no matter what you sell or where you sell it. Although the first 6 digits is the global standard, each country adds additional digits to distinguish each product. And when the codes change, getting them right, gets harder. And as you can see from this from the example, an item will start with the same 6 digits, but the following 2 to 6 digits differ for each country, as well as the duty rates. So e-invoicing continues to be the clear direction of travel for tax authorities looking to maximise VAT and GST collections. And it's therefore of little surprise to see more countries this year implement mandatory e-invoicing or pilot programs on a voluntary basis before wider compulsory adoption. This year, we will actually see new VAT returns and reporting requirements as tax authorities look to digitalise or simplify compliance processes for taxpayers. While it is typical to see the occasional new field or box added to a VAT return, there are several significant changes across the globe in relation to VAT reporting. So, in the EU, there are changes to Interstate declarations, resulting from the new regulation of European business statistics, which came into force January 1st this year. Interstate dispatches declarations across the EU will now require 2 additional pieces of statistical information: the partner VAT ID and the country of origin. In Italy, you abolish the Estrometro filing this year and expand its SDI digital reporting to cover cross-border invoices issued and received. This was going to be introduced with effect January 1st, but has really recently been postponed to July 1st. Norway is replacing its VAT return with a new digital e-VAT return. Here in the UK, the final phase of Making Tax Digital initiative will be introduced on 1st of April. So from this date, all UK VAT registered businesses will need to be compliant with Making Tax Digital requirements, regardless of their turnover and whether they are registered for VAT on a voluntary basis or trading over the registration threshold. And France, has introduced a major change on how import VAT is assessed. From January 1st, the use of the import VAT reverse charge has become compulsory. So, businesses, really should be prepared for further changes across indirect tax this year, as well as new announcements, proposals, and consultations for more reform and new mandates in the coming years. And so for more information, about these upcoming updates on tax compliance, check out our VAT Live page, which I will reference later in the presentation. So, how can we help businesses, overcome these challenges? This slide, illustrates how our indirect tax compliance solutions and how Avalara can help businesses. First of all, we have our tax engine tool called AvaTax, which is capable of calculating US sales tax and determining VAT. This tool is also capable of tariff code classification and cross-border solutions. From a VAT perspective, once VAT has been determined, there may be requirements for e-invoicing and real-time reporting, which we provide through our acquisition of a company called Imposia, and our VAT reporting solution, which pulls data daily, weekly, or monthly, allowing VAT returns to be filed on a monthly or quarterly basis. So for US sales tax, AvaTax determines and calculates taxes, as I just mentioned. We integrate with the relevant source systems your business is using. At a point in your business process where taxes are needed, say invoicing or online checkout, a request is made. AvaTax evaluates the transaction information, determines the taxes, and returns that to your system instantaneously. In order to make this work, Avalara is constantly monitoring and updating tax rates, rules, and boundaries. A return service manages preparation and filings of the returns. So when it's time to file, you will review a liability report based on tax data from Avatax and then approve the filing. We will then prepare and file your returns and submit your payment to the appropriate jurisdiction. And in order to make this work, Avalara is constantly monitoring and updating filing rules and forms. And then we have Capture, which manages your exemption certificates. When a certificate is about to expire, a request is sent to your customer. Your customer clicks a link in an email directing them to the Capture site, where they can then provide the certificate information online. And then when Avatax is calculating tax, it checks Capture to see if the transaction should be exempt, and if so, it does exempt the tax. So as mentioned, every item in the world has a HS code, also known as a commodity code. So if a customer is shipping from the EU to the EU for the US, for example, we can provide them with the correct tariffs and duties for that particular transaction, which relate to the correct HS codes. And then a key issue retailers are facing is to establish who is responsible for paying the duties and taxes. Is it the buyer? Is it the seller? So this is established by what we call Incoterms, which is essentially the contract between the buyer and the seller. While this slide is what this slide is showing is there are two different options for sellers. They can choose either DDP or DAP. And at Avalara, we believe DDP is the best customer experience because there are no surprise charges and the customer has a transparent buying experience. What it means, though, is the seller is responsible for all of the import taxes, tariffs, customs, shipping, etc. Then our VAT reporting solution. So, we currently cover over 61 countries for VAT reporting, which includes all the EU countries and also Northern Ireland and UK. So all the countries are highlighted in orange. And then, we also cover North America, Brazil and India with our other solutions, such as Avatax, and they are countries highlighted in green. But coming back to VAT reporting, so our VAT reporting addresses the complexities of VAT compliance for businesses and provides efficiency, increased accuracy, and reduction in manual compliance processes. We help remove the complexities of filing VAT returns in multiple countries and ensures they match the required formats of each of the countries. So, we can help customers increase accuracy of the filings while reducing their compliance costs. And this basically allows tax teams to focus on greater value-added tasks and leaves the more mundane and repetitive tasks to the VAT reporting tool. So Avalara updates and maintains VAT rules continually for VAT reporting accuracy. In terms of how the process works, first element is to get the data into the tool. So we currently have pre-built extractors for some ERP solutions. So NetSuite is an example. So we can help with the automation of data transfer. For systems where we do not currently have pre-built extractors, customers will use generic templates to build customized extractions. So the data flow is still automated after that process. And one of the biggest differentiators against our competitors is the number of data checks we carry out. Now, when data comes into the tool, every single transactional line will be checked across 160 plus compliance checks. And as soon as we have an error or warning, the issue is flagged, and you have the ability then to make amendments in the solution itself. And once data is checked, users can run reports and reconciliations if required. And then the final piece is the filing. So, within the EU, as I'm sure you can appreciate, every country has different ways to file. Some countries allow direct filing, which we can do from our tools, such as UK, Germany, and Netherlands. For other countries, who require, the upload returns to the website, be it in CSV, XML, TXT formats, we'll basically provide an output, which basically removes then the obstacle for you to having to type that information into the taxing authority's website. So Avalara works with, over 30,000 customers across over 95 countries and across multiple industry sectors. And I'm sure there's probably some names on here that you all recognise. And I'm actually, pleased to introduce Claudia and Daniela from board, who are a joint customer of Avalara and Concitec. So over to you, Claudia and Daniela.
Hi all, I'm Daniela Invernizzi and I work in Board International since 2012. I started working 10 years ago here at the HQ in Chiasso in Switzerland as a part of the finance department, and now I'm the manager of the sales order team. We process licenses orders and invoices for all the board countries worldwide. Board is a single enterprise platform that unifies planning, predictive analytics, and business intelligence. It's a unique software that chooses the all-in-one approach to make better decisions and satisfy every business need. Globally, we have more than 3,000 customers, and here you can see the most famous and well-known ones. For sure, Coca-Cola, an example, using Board platform as complete visibility of supply chain activities from manufacturing plants right down to the individual vending machines. And during the years, Coca-Cola has seen a dramatic increase in overall planning efficiency. In general, we can say that Board cover all the market branches, and we are present strongly on all the industries, from the retail and fashion to banking, financial services, and so on. Now I leave the word to my colleague, Claudia, who will explain our exciting experience with Avalara.
Hi everyone, my name is Claudia Castellani and I'm with Board since December 2018. So today I'm going to share with you a brief insight of our experience at Board with Avalara so far, after the implementation launched together with the Concitec team last summer. So, as explained by my colleague Daniela a moment ago, our team at Board handles the creation and the invoicing of the sales orders that we receive from all the different branches of Board. Our subsidiaries of Board, they are located in many different countries, such as France, UK, Germany, USA, etc. It's precisely on the US branch that I want to focus today with you. In fact, considering all our customers worldwide, we can truly say that the US-based clientele has always represented the most challenging point of attention for Board, especially when it comes to invoicing. This is because of the complex legislation related to taxes in the US states. As explained in better details by Tariq a while ago, every US state in fact has different sales tax rules, depending on the nature of the product sold and on the location of the end customer. This entails, in turn, a plethora of different tax rates to apply when the company is doing business in US is invoicing a client. And the tax rates, they change on a case-to-case scenario, so it's very difficult for a company like ours, based in Europe, to fully understand the logics underneath, and then also to detect the correct tax rates to be used in each and every case for this or for that particular customer. Even more so if the customer is tax exempt, which is often the case, as we discovered in our experience. In those cases, of course, we should not apply taxes at all. Well, basically, before implementing the Avalara tools and bundle, we used to manage all these aspects related to the US taxation manually on our own. Of course, it was a very long, complex and time-consuming method, and more often than not, it proved to be inaccurate or unreliable even. Since the implementation of the Avalara bundle, launched, as I was saying, last summer, we used the Avatax connector in our ERP system, which is NetSuite from Oracle, and we managed to successfully overcome this challenge and automated the process of the US taxation. In particular, AvaTax helped us manage the US orders on 3 main levels. First of all, thanks to AvaTax, the system now is automatically able to detect the correct sales tax to be applied for each customer and each sales order, thus depending on their location and the item sold. Moreover, the tax rates chosen by AvaTax are constantly updated in order to remain compliant to that legislation belonging to that particular US state. The second main advantage that the Avalara bundle allowed us to achieve is the collection of the tax exemption certificates that have to be provided by our clients in USA. These certificates are now automatically stored in the system in NetSuite, and the bundle removes for us the taxes from all these sales orders, so that everything now is stored and kept in order. Finally, third achievement, Avalara helped us also manage the return part, as Tariq was saying. So all the tax filings that must be submitted to the different US states in which board does business, they can be sent to the different states on a regular basis. That can be monthly or semi-annually and so on and so forth. So everything can be scheduled and planned well ahead of time through the return system. Thanks to these 3 main automations, we at Board, we successfully managed to simplify the process of taxation in US on one hand, and on the other one, of course, we increased accuracy and reliability when it comes to invoicing in USA. So in conclusion, I can safely say that our experience at Board has proven very positive and successful so far with AvaTax. Thank you, Tariq.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Claudia. Thank you so much, Daniela. Always nice to hear customers' testimonials. What I'd like to now just cover off is a bit about, who Avalara actually are, and also some key takeaways. So, Avalara was actually founded in 2004, and we're founded in the US to help organizations improve their sales tax compliance. Today, we have over 3,000 employees across, 12 countries. So as a global company, we are in a prime position to help our global customers achieve compliance, reduce risk, and streamline their processes through our cloud-based tax automation solutions. So why Avalara? We live and breathe indirect tax. We have best-in-class global compliance platform. Tax calculations are delivered in the blink of an eye by combining the power of our tax engine with the depth of our deep tax content and rules database. We automate the returns process from preparation and filing to remittance, be it US sales and use tax, VAT reporting, e-invoicing or live reporting. We officially manage tax compliance documents from the cloud. So prime example is the exemption certificates. We have our business licensing and registrations offering, which basically means we can take care of registrations for customers, be it where a business has US sales tax obligations or countries a business needs to register for VAT. Our compliance platform, combines a vast tax content database. It's secure, it's reliable infrastructure with robust API. And Avalara's team of content specialists, map changes to tax jurisdiction boundaries, monitor rules around product taxability, and work to continually grow our database of item specific tax rates and rules. And I think this is a key point because we have invested in teams of CPAs and advisors to ensure content is up to date, and therefore when legislative changes are made, we apply those changes automatically and before the due date, ensuring our customers are always compliant. And we have over 1,000 integrations, with so many pre-built integrations to ERP, e-commerce shopping carts, other business applications. We're probably integrated with the applications you use today or might do in the future. We have a number of resources on our site that will help guide you through legislation changes that are coming. Some key takeaways are, always ensure you are registered where you have US sales tax or VAT obligations. Economic Nexus is in the US, is in place. So even if you do not have a physical presence in the US, if you exceed any of the state's thresholds, you will be liable to pay sales tax. Real-time reporting and invoicing is becoming more and more apparent. So, companies need to keep abreast of legislative changes. Tax compliance, affects different areas of the business. So it really shouldn't be, left to tax function only. It should be a business discussion and decision. And finally, invest in software which can help automate and streamline your compliance processes. So as I mentioned earlier, we have our VAT Live page, and this will basically give you up-to-date news on tax compliance. The website or the link is avalara.com/VAT Live. So I think that pretty much is the end of my presentation. So first of all, thank you very much for listening. Thank you to Marta from Constec and Daniela and Claudia from board. These are my contact details on the screen, so feel free to contact me. Or by all means, please feel free to contact Marta from Constec, who was the person who organised this great webinar. But I do think we have time for some questions. So yeah, if there are any questions, be happy to hopefully try and answer them.
Yes, actually, we received some questions, Tariq. So if you want to answer, we have the first one is this. Do you have a separate tax engine for US VAT and cross-border, or is it one solution?
Okay, so that's a really good question. So yeah, I mean, basically we have the tax engine tool, which is global. So basically what it means is it can support EU, UK, US, or rest of world calculations in one place. And then on top of that, you can actually use the same service to calculate import duty if required. So we just basically need the HS code, etc., to assist with that.
The other is how is your content managed for all these solutions?
Yeah, so as I mentioned in the presentation, we do have a team of people who basically manage the content. I think we have over 400 people. They span over the US, EU, and India offices, and it's their full-time job to manage our global content for all our products.
And finally, do you provide advisory services for tax?
Well, we actually acquired a company called TTR, and basically now we have the solution called Avalara Tax Research. We have an on-demand tax content solution, which basically provides information such as rates, tax answers, and legislation for the EU and US.
Great. I think that it's all. So thank you, Tariq, for this very interesting session, and many thanks, Daniela and Claudia, for sharing with us this successful project of Board International. So if you have any question, please contact me. And thank you for your time of today, and enjoy the rest of the evening.